size, dead set. It was an open plan bathroom. The toilet was essentially mere meters from the bases, and others only in single digits.
Scour the lists now on the Triple J, Double J, and Triple J Unearthed websites.
So how often do they catch up, Angela?
Well, it was a little more often before COVID, but it would be once every 6 months, I'd say. But yeah, it was one of those trips, I think, that you sort of remember, not necessarily for all the joyous sunsets, but more for the things that went wrong. We'd look up and go, where are the kids? But we would have seen them walking off together, the bigger one with his arm around the little ones, and we'd turn around and they'd be basically almost cuddling kangaroos and trying to shove food into their faces. We woke up one morning and there were 2 kangaroos who'd actually lined each other up for a boxing match. Actual full boxing kangaroos. I didn't realise that was a thing. Over a bit of dodgy old chocolate. So the kids thought it was great. So it was the stuff of memories for sure. It was brilliant. But yeah, it's the same as you. I've noticed too, the kids in the street. Our street's become a bit of a bike, a mountain bike site where they're building their own jumps and turning dirt patches into castles, and it's just magic. It's just wonderful.
One of those things, and that's what we're seeing in streets as well, is that the community's getting together and being able to do the social distancing thing. But as for some places the social distancing is now starting to lapse, then, well, not the social distancing, but the ability to be able to do different things. We're seeing kids be able to be kids again and to go out in the streets and play footy and do some of those things.
And also, there's so innovative, because our kids are playing to be on their bikes, where they weren't allowed to be near each other. They're kind of playing to on their bike. That was genius. They're not actually touching each other. They're just, even near towards it. They're something near each other on the wrist.
So it's called a COVID play.
Yes, so I'm going to what's the word? Patent that. All my kids.
Yeah, if you want to join us, 1300 800 222. Either the things that have happened this week, or did you get up to Misriff with your cousins? And is that the sort of things that cousins are for? Give us a call. A text here saying I live on the Mordiatic Highway in the Mornington Peninsula and have seldom seen more traffic, even at the height of summer. What happened to staying at home? If I wanted to get out of my gate, I'd have been struggling to find a gap in the traffic, says Jane. It's just one of the things that people are noticing out and about as well. How often do you see your cousins, by the way? And is that one of the things that happens after a while? And I don't know about you, Angela, but I don't think I've seen my cousins for maybe 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's probably once the grandparents die, then you sort of separate just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think there's phases, there are phases, in teenage and younger years into teenage years, you might see them a little more, then you go off and they separate. We're blessed to still have the matriarch of our family, beautiful, my nan. So she does keep us together. I've actually seen more of my cousins recently through Messenger and Facebook. Group chats that we do, and we have my nan on there, and all we can see is the top of her head. But it's so funny, and we just do this big, it's just, we haven't seen each other for 6 to 12 months, but we all get on there and it's just really fun. But I think you're right. I think that can make a difference in how often we get together. Maybe pick up the phone, give them a call.
When you see the kids though with their cousins, there's something special about that. I guess because you have your own memories of what it was like with cousins when you're a kid, and then when you see it happening for your own children, it's even better.
Oh, isn't that true? Yeah, it's so true. And my 4-year-old, she's trying to figure it out. So your brother look like you, or not look like you, and you know. But I think too that what surprises me is the relationships that form. You know, you don't know whether it's not always the ones that are the same age. You know, some of the younger ones might look up to the older ones, and yeah, it's really special. I'm glad you didn't ask me that question about whether I got up to mischief with my cousins, though.
Yeah,
So
well,
probably have to refuse to it.
now that you've said it,
It may have been a weekend. I may have slipped away down to the beach. Yeah, no, but they were older and wiser and safe. I was safe.
that's the other thing, is the relationship sorts of change when you get into your teenage years with cousins, because it was perhaps a different type of mischief than perhaps you got up to when you were 5, 6, 7 and 8.
So true, so true. But yeah, just Christmas Day, just waiting to see them and sharing gifts and stories and joy, and you know, it's a bit of a memory box too.
And it was also you'd get exactly the same Christmas presents as your cousins as well.
Yeah, and it was okay if you got silly ones, you know, weird t-shirts and jumpers, and that was just funny. Yeah, it's just no inhibition, I guess, too.
Someone said, what happened to ISO? Stay at home. Yes, that's true, but in some places that isn't the case. In some places people are allowed to move around a little bit more. That's one of the difficulties at the moment, Angela, isn't it? That it's so different for different people in different states.
Well, yeah, I think my heart's a bit broken in some respects. So I live in Brizzy and run Big Red Pub, which is in Melbourne, and you know, that's a charity serving the poor, I guess, people, vulnerable people, I should say, people who are struggling. And the sad irony is that we have an increased demand for helping families with decreased capacity. We sort of had to slow everything down again, which saddens me, because in Brisbane we can move around.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm saying what I'm seeing in Victoria, but that's in regional Victoria and not necessarily in the city. So it's so much different for people in the city in comparison to people in regional areas. And that's why it's important that we keep the staying at home and doing all the things that we do in our own different areas, so that places who haven't got a problem continue to not have a problem.
Yeah, and I think we can be inventive, you know, like the kids, and sort of do things without going near each other. We go for bushwalks where you're allowed, obviously, and that's tough for Victoria.
Particularly in Washington, to my guess, it's very clearly couched in terms that I think the US will like, about Australia contributing more and having more self-reliance. That could be seen as a statement that we think that the US might not have our backs, but can also be seen as, you know, something that the US has been arguing for a long time. I particularly liked a few elements of the update, things like making sure that we have, you know, material and ammunition, you know, that aren't going to be disrupted by global supply chains, having more capability, industrial sovereign capability here, and particularly things like fuel reserves, which is, you know, has been long seen as an issue for us. So I think those are things that are worth investing in, regardless of US resolve, because as we've seen from COVID, we know that supply chains can be disrupted very quickly and easily, and it's worth having our own abilities.
My guests are Peter Jennings, Bates Gill and Melissa Conley-Tyler. And Melissa, the Pacific Step Up last year, that realigned Australia's development budget to deal with some of the strategic challenges posed by China in the Pacific. Do you think it goes far enough?
The Pacific Step Up was followed recently by Australia's new international development policy, Partnerships for Recovery, and that's made it very clear that Australia's focus should be on the Pacific and also Southeast Asia, including Indonesia and Timor-Leste. I think that has a very clear statement about what we want in the region, being a trusted development partner and influencing those societies in ways that we think are positive for the region. Again, you're going to say you hear this from me all the time, but again, the problem is that we're not really making much investment. So Partnerships for Recovery had no money. It talked about the massive challenges that COVID is creating for the Pacific, for our region broadly, and the only funding announcement that was that we're going to repurpose the money we would have spent on sending Australian volunteers and scholarship holders. We're going to use that. So I suppose I feel this a little bit with all the areas. And I'd actually include the strategic update in that as well. That what we've seen through, you know, the foreign policy white paper, Development Policy through to the Defence Strategic Update, is we talk about how difficult the region is, what a time this is for us to be living, a contested, difficult, awful environment that we've now got to live in, and that our easy time is over. And then we say, and we're not going to give any new money. So, I mean, the defence announcement is essentially just that we're going to continue to, extrapolate out the money that was planned to be spent to 2026, and we're going to extrapolate that out to 2030.
So, Batesgill, do we risk getting into a bidding war for influence in the Pacific?
Well, I don't know if it's a risk. I mean, if it is, it's a risk worth taking. I mean, obviously, the Pacific region is so extremely important to Australia's future, and to both for defence reasons, for regional engagement, for diplomatic reasons, development reasons, and the like. So it's quite possible that we're entering in a more competitive phase with China in this region.
I suppose when I say it's a risk, Bates, I'm talking about more the budgetary concerns here, because in the wake of the coronavirus crisis, there'll be serious limits on how much we can spend on these things, surely.
Yes, there is. And part of it will have to be redeveloped for that. But, when you're talking about your own backyard, I mean, I don't think Australia is the kind of country that can simply pretend that it's by itself.
Getting back, Peter Jennings, to the region generally and the rise of what Angus Campbell is the Chief of the Defence Force. He's talked about the rise of political warfare, the idea of grey zone warfare, things like cyber attacks, economic coercion, influence operations that fall below the traditional threshold of war. He says we need a whole of government response to it. Are you seeing that whole of government approach happening in Canberra, or is this mainly focused on defence and the spy agencies so far? Peter Jennings.
It probably is focused on the national security agencies, Tom, but that's not too surprising, because you'd expect them to sort of pick up on the risks first. But General Campbell is right, it doesn't need to be a whole of government. There's a whole lot of things happening there that simply cannot and should not be done by defence organisations. And I think that realisation is slowly dawning along, as both other speakers have said, that actually leadership comes with cost if Australia is going to play that role. But, I'll give you a small example of this. We have lost the ability to broadcast into the South Pacific and Southeast Asia in a way that we used to do very successfully over decades. To give us the capacity to do that, we're probably talking about 30 million a year, 40 million a year, which sounds a lot if you're in DFAT. It's nothing if you're in the Defence Department, let me tell you. But you need to be able to do things like that to be the truth teller in the region, to actually tell the region that there are alternatives to Chinese Communist Party authoritarianism. I think that's what's needed with responding to this grey zone threat, is actually to be the truth teller in this part of the world. And getting our system in Canberra used to that reality, to understanding what needs to be done, to starting a different type of conversation with our region, with our own people for that matter. That is a sort of a psychological change which I can see happening, but we're not quite there yet. There's a bit of work still to be done to get to that point.
And Melissa Connolly-Tyler.
Yes, just responding on that, I agree entirely with what Peter's saying on broadcasting. I mean, it's a small investment, such an increase in influence. It should be a no-brainer, and I hope that's been seen. I think having defence forces say it will help a lot in being seen seriously. But just when you asked about whole of government and what's happening there are some really good examples. So, for example, when this Pacific Step-Up started, an Office of the Pacific was established in the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and its job is